if Taina can check if it is streaming online.
Yeah.
And we are trying this software for the first time, so.
It's like user has deleted video. There is some problem.
Okay.
Maybe I could check the link. We are streaming this in YouTube. So the people. Okay, yeah, it's working now.
It's working.
Yeah.
So you can see my PowerPoint slides.
Yes.
Yeah.
First slide is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome you all, guys. Before we start, I would like to thank Taina and Crazy Town for providing me this platform so that I could come here and then I talk about why to invest in Nepal and are there any opportunities for Finnish firms in Nepal. So you might be interested to know who I am. Some of you know me from past, but if I would have to introduce myself, I'm Sharad Adhikari. I'm originally from Nepal. I have lived in Finland for nearly 12 years. That's 1/3 of my whole life. I hold degrees in economics and business administration. I have work experience from both public sectors and private sectors in Finland. I work currently as senior IT consultant at Affecto. And I would like to start this event with a slogan that do not donate, rather invest. It's because Nepal has been our donor darling that we call. People do not feel any harm donating to Nepalese people, but they don't think in investing in skills. You might also be interested, like why I'm here. The main reasons is to share my expertise on Nepal, and I wanted to motivate Finnish companies to do business in Nepal. I'm also here because I can't understand why Finnish companies don't see any prospect in Nepal. And lastly, I'm here because I choose to do it voluntarily. So I'm not representing any firm. I'm just here because me and Taina, we discussed on this kind of project, and we came up with arranging this event. So before we move on, I would like to know who you are and why are you participating in this event. In other words, I wanted to know what are your expectations from this event. For those who are following our live stream, please introduce yourself in the chat box so that we know who are following us. Taina will be taking note, and she will be helping us also in the chat box. I would like to introduce my other friend, Ashish Upreti. He should be also in online. He's working as corporate lawyer and EFTI consultant. He has background from Finland. He studied in Hanken, and now he has gone back to Nepal. So he would be the first contact if you have any questions related with the legal questions. But if Taina, you would introduce yourself.
Yeah. Maybe because I don't have this microphone, it won't be online, but I don't know if it's
maybe
necessary.
we skip that.
Okay, let's skip that part. Hi, my name is Taina Ketola and I come from Council of Tampere region. And why I am here is that I work with this kind of open innovation platforms. And I wanted to take this opportunity to make this experiment how people outside Tampere ecosystem could come here and do some voluntary work and start something new and tell about what is going on outside Tampere. So that is why I am here, and of course we are friends from I don't know how many years, but many years, and we have studied together. So that's why I know that Sharad is a hard worker and doing great things, and I'm looking forward to hear more about how to make business in Nepal and what kind of opportunities there might be. So that is why I am here, and I'm looking forward to this session this afternoon.
Great. Which organization you?
Council of Tampere Region, Pirkanmaa, the regional officer. Development manager is mine.
This belongs to, for example, N73 or 3 office.
It's governmental office. Yeah. Council of Tampere Region, like Pirkanmaa in Finnish.
Yeah, so the next one. Yeah, could you introduce?
Introduce
Yeah.
myself. Okay, this is Majid Imani. I'm originally from Iran, and I'm moved to Tampere and Finland last year in August 2016. And after 3 months, I'm running my own business as an international business company. Because of my experience, I worked for about 10 years for Siemens in international projects. And because of my wife, decided to study at Tampere University of Tampere. So she asked me to move to Finland with her. So I quit my job in Siemens and say yes and become a Tampere citizen, new citizen. And after 3 months, I found the great opportunity and potentiality of Tampere. And it would be, I write a business plan and talk about how great opportunity and potentiality have Tampere. And it would be a Silicon Valley of North Europe and the hub of business between North Europe and the other region of the world. And our company focus on, and when I registered my company, we decided to start from Tampere. Then our destination is Middle East, and we selected a country, Qatar, as the richest country nowadays in the world, big oil and gas field and so many construction projects. So nowadays we start to connecting Finnish startups, new companies, and those companies interested in Middle East projects.
So we have similar interest.
Yeah, we have a similar platform, yes, but the market is different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarusitula. I'm from Nepal, and it's been 5 years here in Finland, and I'm studying in Palm University. And then, like, why I came here is to see one Nepalese guy representing our country here, and then showing the possibility to invest in some parts of our country. And then, because I have no experience in this, like any kind of business in Nepal, so it would be nice to come here and then see those presentations and then see how those things works after I go back to my country again. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully, like I'll get more ideas here.
Yeah, I'm Ramesh Pandey. I'm also from Nepal. I graduated with BBA degree last year. And I've been here for 5 years now. I also wanted to know about the scope of business in Nepal overall, so I'm here.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Harry. I'm originally from Tampere, born in Tampere, but there's written Nokia in my birth certificate because in Finland there is that rule that where your parents are registered, we also. And I'm from Tampere originally. And now I live in Helsinki. I'm a supervisor in post delivery, and we have a lot of Nepalese workers, almost 200. And so I'm all the time with them, daily speaking Nepali language.
Yes.
So
In
you
my
know
work
Nepali from
in
there.
Finland. I also traveled in Nepal for 5 or 6 times, and and I know this guy Sharat for many years. So when I got this invitation, I decided that I must be here.
Thank you.
I'm Raimo Korhonen. I've been working in a long time in Valmet automation and VTT and very active in many startups, and now I'm member of the board of quite many startups, and I've been actually helping a Nepalese guy who is living in Oulu, Mukti Paudel. Mukti is engineer, and he wanted to do something good for Nepal, and he visited last spring in Nepal and established, we call those hubs, where the students and companies, schools work together, and those students did some voluntary work like soil testing, animal testing, things like that, and so it's a Techkhoj project, because it, and we have web pages, so if you want to look more, there's a techkhoj.com, and actually a couple of weeks ago we established the association, Nepalco Association, so that we could push this thing forward. And now actually next week Shiva Shah from old Nepalese guy is going to Nepal and establish a library in the eastern part of Nepal, and he also keep a science exhibition, science art exhibition there, and we have been looking companies to give some demos like Key Loop mobile microscope company where I'm involved. We are giving Key Loop for Shiva to present the idea to have a mobile phone microscope, and test pack that makes solar panels, portable solar panels, LED lights. They are giving demo unit to Shiva so that he can show those things. But this kind of activities I'm involved.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Ari Mäkelä and I'm Taina's cousin. And I work for Finnish government and I do abnormal transport permits. And the reason why I'm here, I was just curious.
Yeah, and because Ari knows a lot of transportation stuff in Finland, and transportation is one element. And so that
I know something, not much.
Yeah.
Because my substance is quite a small in Finland.
Yeah.
So I know something.
Okay, so thanks again. We have we have interesting candidates here participating in the event, and we would move forward with the agenda. I have prepared this event to talk for 1.5 hours, and after that we would have informal discussion. I'm quite sure that we will be talking much and sharing our information. If you are just interested how the event will proceed, I will talk and give some idea about the information on Nepal. Then the interesting topic, why invest in Nepal, where to invest in Nepal, and if you are quite interested in starting a business, then I would tell what sort of paperwork process and legal terms you have to deal with. Since this is our first visit, we will put the things on the first layer. We won't dig dive, but I would also tell you where to ask for help, and as I said, we will continue with the informal discussion. So, where is Nepal? It's something that I usually get from my Finnish colleagues. Nepal actually lies in between two power economy, China in the north, and we have borders with India on all three other sides. So we actually have a very strategic location, because we are in between two big economy in the world. A small country, but in a good location, I would say that. So many people also ask how far is Nepal from Finland, and they think like, okay, why did you come to Finland from that far? But actually, the earth is round. So if you fly from Helsinki directly to Kathmandu, it won't take more than 6.5 hours. But as we know, Finnair doesn't fly directly to Kathmandu, so we have to fly either through Qatar or Delhi. In a sense, it will take around 10 hours. If you fly now, then you will be in 10 hours from here to Kathmandu. Flight till Delhi takes 6.5 hours, and then we will have to fly from Delhi to Kathmandu. That is around 1.5 hours. This is also something that I wanted to highlight. We are very close to the capital of India. If that's something that you wanted to put on your list. Nepal has a time zone of plus 5 hours 45 minutes. So if you were to work with the Nepalese colleagues, there is not much time difference. It's either 3 hours or 4 hours, depending on the summertime or winter time. We have to know something regarding the history of Nepal, because we are going to invest in Nepal. So we have to know how the whole country was born. As far as I know, Nepal is the oldest country in Southeast Asia. There were Hindu Kiratis king around 7th or 8th BC. And there were many parts in Nepal. Everybody talked Nepalese that language, but nobody was there to unify. So Saha dynasty, they came there, and then they unified Nepal to a greater Nepal. It was little bit big, but then we lost some part to British when we fought with British. There was a Rana regime, a prime minister who was very diplomatic. He took over the power, and the Rana regime was there for 100 years, more than 100 years, and they were loyal to British, regime. That's why our country was very closed. Until we had democracy, but the democracy didn't last for a long time. We had single party system. That means king had the power, and there was only one party. And Nepalese didn't like it, so they fought, and we had multi-party system, and now we have more than 100 parties. So that's agony, and that's the political instability that we are facing. But somewhere there were some people who were not happy with the multi-party system, so they started a revolution. We called it Maoist revolution. That lasted for 10 years, but finally we have peace in Nepal. They are happy because they are in government now. So I would say that there is peace and stability. We have come far. We have new constitution that took 3 or 4 years to write, but anyway, we have a good constitution, and we have a peaceful Nepal. Let's talk few words on culture and religion. We are very rich in culture. We have lots of festivals. Dasai is the biggest. We had Dasai in last weekend. That's the Christmas of Hindu. We have more festivals than maybe working days, so that's something to cheer up. There is always some festival, always some festival going there. Our culture is highly influenced by Indian, Mongolian, and Tibetan culture. Religion or food, you say, it's a mix. And the next thing that I want to tell you, we speak 123 different languages. Nepali is the official language, so everybody knows Nepali. But if you were to ask like how many languages, Nepali language I speak, I maybe speak like 2 languages, but not all. It's a homogeneous population. 80% are Hindu. Then the other are Buddhist or Muslim or Christian. Nepal is the birthplace of Lord Buddha, the god of Buddhist, and we have many temples of Hindus like Pashupatinath. So given the religious tourism, we have many things to sell that we are not selling right now. So we had a great history, but why we are underdeveloped? So I thought for a few reasons, and I came up with this reason. We were very closed from Saha dynasty. The king believed that the British would come inside and then they will take Nepal away, so they didn't allow anyone to come inside. We fought against British. We lost some of our parts, but we were independent for the whole time. We were closed till we got democracy, and after that we had political instability for 2 decades. So it's like a chaos of events that led that nothing was happening in the country for a long time. And that led to the lack of infrastructure, so foreign companies were not interested to come inside Nepal. So that I think is the main reason for Nepal being underdeveloped. But we do have a promising future. We have elections by the end of 2017, so everybody is happy. We are going towards the political stability. New highways are under construction. We have Mid-Hill Highway. Then we have a Kaligandagi corridor that's connecting India and China. That's the shortest route. And there is a vision that Nepal will be transformed from landlocked to land-linked. That means we are landlocked, but we are already signing agreement with China for One Belt Road, that there will be connections from Kerung to Nepal and Nepal to India. So many things are happening in the next decades. And Indian government is also interested in selling more, so they are helping us to construct a road that connect Nepalese city to the border cities in India. So there will be a lot of construction work going on in the next decade. So we know some bit of Nepal, and we want to focus on why to invest in Nepal. But let's warm up. If I just tell you like these are the reasons, so you lost interest. What I have understood, pitches tell more than 1,000 words, right? So I found some of the pitches from Google. The one in the left, it shows pretty managed cables in Kathmandu. It's a normal scenario, but I have thought it like for many times. Is it working? Yeah, everything is working, but nobody is there who is telling you how to do it correctly. And the other picture that I can show you, it's the solid waste management. It is best. We are very capable of utilizing our resources. As you can see, we have utilized 120% of the workload that the vehicle could handle. And what's in it for Finnish companies? I see opportunities that you can sell just project management that we are very good at. You can sell training related to waste management, or then you can sell machinery tools. Hey, in Finland we crossed that, and you can actually take 10 times more material than the way that you are doing it now. So the next picture that I'm showing, people are on the top of the bus and they are not inside the bus. It might be a cultural thing, or it might be that it's very hot. There is no air conditioning inside the bus, or the people can't trust the driver, so they rather think like they are safe on the top, so that they can jump. They can jump when something happens. So we do not have that much trust in our own people, and we trust more like foreigners that they are capable of doing something. So the next picture that I'm showing here, a Chinese company, they are constructing the infrastructure in Kathmandu. So they are not doing anything new in Finland, compared to Finland. They are just making road bridges so that the traffic flow will be good. It's one of the first of its kind in Nepal, and people love it. So they have a lot of time. The young generation, they are just there. They are sitting there for long hours just to see how the things goes. So what's in it for Finnish companies? So one thing, if you export something to Nepal, there would not be any obstruction. People will love you. They are waiting for the change. So it's not like, okay, you have to go outside, or you are foreigner, you are taking our money. It's not, it's just opposite. You can sell equipments, you can sell improved services. You can tell how to ease the operation, and you can also have access to the youth labor that are waiting and watching some other guy doing something. More pictures. While you are in Kathmandu, you can see a long line in the foreign ministry offices. I mean long line, like thousands of people. They are waiting for the passports so that they can go abroad to work. And those people that once they got the paper and visa, they end up in Qatar or Malaysia or even South Korea. So we are exporting people nowadays. So these people, go there and then they are constructing Burj Khalifa or the World Cup infrastructure that Qatar is needing. So what's in it for Finnish companies? So I would try to sell the thing like it's a cheap labor. Everybody is waiting for work. You can have access to both unskilled youth force or then skilled force. So what I'm saying is skilled force is that they have gone there to Qatar, or they have gone there in Malaysia, they have worked in bigger projects. So they are actually skilled. They have experience. So if you are going there for some construction companies and think that okay, you are not getting the skilled worker, you actually have to think outside of the box, and you might want to recruit those people who already have some experience in Qatar and Malaysia. The next picture is about trade deficit. Last month only we were importing 13 times more product than we were exporting. Last year only we were importing 893 billion worth of goods. That's in paper. I don't know how much is not in the accounting, but we were pathetically exporting only 67.4 billion. So for Finnish companies, there is evident lot of chance to go in Nepal, produce something, and it's sure that you will sell it. And I would even say, like, if you produce it good, you can even sell it to India, because in a way we are exporting to India, even if we think like, okay, India is a big economy and it does not need that much, but we are exporting to India. But the problem is we are importing, and the funny thing is even if Nepal is agriculture economy, we are actually buying raw cereals from India, right? So this says something that we have a long way to do, and somebody has to do it. So you might be thinking like, okay, are there other companies who have success in Nepal? I would like to highlight two main companies. Cloud Factory, the Canadian tech guy, he was in holiday and he just saw like the students, they knew information technology and they knew how to work with that. So he came up with the idea. He started a business, and in few years this company has grown to the biggest IT company in Nepal. It's called Cloud Factory, and it has actually 3,200 workers, and they have global presence now. Yencell, it was the sister concern of TeliaSonera. They experienced rapid growth. If I remember from some article, they had 6 million customers in 5 years. They were a market leader, and Telia was the biggest foreign investors in Nepal until they dissolved it to a Malaysian company. So there are projects going on, and we can think that money is flowing in Nepal. We need bigger airports. We have to expand that. We are expanding two regional airports, actually 3 regional airports and 1 international airport. And we are talking about 500 million, 217 million. We are expanding our ring road that worth 55 million euros, dollars. And we have numerous hydropower projects like West Seti, Budi Gandaki, Arun 3, Karnali, and we are talking about millions and billions worth of projects. So there should be somebody who would be selling those those products and equipments. If you are the one who don't want to risk yourself on your own money, you can always look for the World Bank funded projects. In 2017, World Bank had 35 active projects, and there are 9 projects in the pipeline. So we are getting money all the time from World Bank and Asian Development Bank. So money is not a problem. The problem is somebody has to do it. The consumption capacity of government is expanding. There is money, so there are lots of tenders that might be interested to Finnish companies. I have some links where you can just check those tenders. And very small thing that might seems like minor in Finland is a big thing in tenders in Nepal. For example, email system that Nepal police wanted to implement, they were ready to pay something like 7,000 euros. And if we are in the university, all we have used Horde and webmail system that's free of cost. So they are ready to pay. That's something free already in Finland. And we are not thinking that much commercially. So there are a lot of opportunities in Nepal, but you might also be interested to know if there is risks in losing the money. As a Finnish, you do not have to worry about losing the money if it has something to do with riots, terrorist attack or war, because Nepalese government and Finnish government, they have signed an agreement called BIPA. That was signed in 2009 and then it came into force in 2011. So your money is secured. It's because of the BIPA agreement. It ensures the non-commercial loss of all Finnish investors. That's something that every Finnish investors need to know. And the Finnish investors will entertain equal rights as local entrepreneurs. So they can open bank accounts, and the most important thing that I want to focus is that your investment is secure through a agreement. So that's enough for warm up. Let's go to the fact. If you were again to ask like why should I invest in Nepal, I think it's the ideal time to invest. Think of the population. We have 29 million population, nearly 5 times more than, or 6 times more than Finnish population. And there are 300 more million Indians living next to the border areas. And these all people are getting rich. So think of a product that you can sell it to a mass product. And I would like to share a short story, if that works as an icebreaker. It's a story from India. There was one guy sitting in train. He was well suited and he might be working as consultant somewhere. But then there was one poor looking guy. He came and he sat behind this consultant, and he was selling these samosas. So it's a small piece of bread kind of thing that you sell and sell to people so that they can eat. So this guy, he was interested in asking the business of this guy, and he was asking like, okay, did you already sold these samosas? And the guy replied, yes, I already sold the samosas. And this guy was curious like, how much money you get? And he was saying, okay, he get 1 rupee for 1 sold samosas. And this guy consultant, he felt pity for that, because all the day he sells samosas, he get only 1 rupees for each sold samosas. But he asked like, how many samosas you sell it in a day? The guy replied that he sell 3,000 to 4,000 samosas a day. So if you calculate mathematically, this guy is earning 3,000 to 4,000 rupees in a day. If you calculate for a month, that guy is earning 1,000 euros. So we are talking to a mass. You have to sell something and you have to sell it in a mass, right? So there is nothing big or small, but the guy sitting to the next was a consultant. He was earning 25,000, that's 250 euros, and the guy, the poor looking guy, he was earning 1,000 euros, right? Because the other guy was working with the mass. Strategic location, we lie between two nations, and we have optimal location to Middle East, Singapore. It's like 4 hours flight to Middle East or Singapore. We have open border access to India. That means it will be easy for you to do something in Nepal and then sell it to India. It's like a small European Union between Nepal and India for historical reasons. You have ease of doing a business. In India and China, you have to go for 49-51 joint venture, but in Nepal you can get 100% ownership in various sectors. So you are in control of your money. It's in developing phase, so we need infrastructure. We are highly dependent on imports from India and China, and the good thing is we have a strong euro in Finland. So if you take €1 to Nepal, as of 2nd October, you are taking 123 rupees. So it's more than 100 times the value of the money that you are taking to Nepal. The second slide, why invest in Nepal? It's actually because of the secured investment. We have this BIPA agreement that I talked about. We have exposure to talents, students like me and these guys. They have been in universities in Europe, and we are actually waiting for some work so that we can do it in Nepal. You can get access to laborers with experience from Middle East, South Korea. If you want to focus more on IT, you have high mobile penetration, and the Facebook usage is quite astonishing. People, even they are illiterate, they have Facebook account. I don't know how they manage, but that's the way that goes. 61% of working population, they have working age population, so that's Nepal is a country of young people. We are member of SAFTA, that will help you to do business in South Asia. The level of competition would be quite low because there are not much competitors in Nepal, so there are chances that you will suppress others. And the cost of operations would be low in Nepal. At this time, I would ask if you have any questions related with the slide that I have shown. Is there something that...
What about these customs or regulations if you export-import products?
From Finland to
Nepal?
Yeah. There are few exemptions provided by EU, because Nepal is a poor country, so we have to see the list if there is exemption on those rules and regulations or taxes. I can't remember, but I will follow you. I think there are 62 products that are exempted from the taxes. So the exemption actually is not only with the European Union, it's with the Chinese government for 26,000 products, and with US government. So they have actually provided some benefit to Nepalese economy, but we haven't utilized that. I dare to say that nobody knew like what are the 60 products that EU allows without taxes. So where to invest in Nepal? I have put that in a context from Finnish capabilities. I think Finnish will succeed if they invest in manufacturing, mining or constructions, because government allows to mine, but the resources are untapped, and the people who are mining, they are using basically their hands to mine. So we are very far from the technology that Finnish companies are using. Energy, we need all the time electricity, healthcare and education. We have to think again of the mass. We have 29 million people. Somebody will fall sick. Somebody will always need the healthcare. Education is a topmost priority among the parents in Nepal. They pay hefty sum of money so that their children get education abroad or within Nepal. Software, tourism, or agriculture, I would say, and I think Finnish would be quite successful if we are able to sell the logistics or the whole concept of supply chain management to Nepalese. I can't even remember if we have any cold storage system for fruits and vegetables in whole Nepal. So it might be a funny scenario that we export oranges to India, they put it in the cold storage, and then they export it to Nepal, and we pay more money just to eat our oranges. I have opened these investment areas further. Let's focus on hydropower first. The feasibility to produce hydropower electricity is 43,000 megawatt, but the realized electricity is only 1,000. So I don't know, is it like 2% of the whole capacity? We have people, we have places that faces shortages of power. So the things are not that bad. We have agreement with India that allows us to import and export the electricity. So if you are able to produce electricity, there is market. Not within only in Nepal, but we can export it to India and then Bangladesh also. So the opportunities for Finnish company is there to upgrade and build this cross-border transmission, domestic lines, and maintain them. There are numerous possibilities to invest in production of electricity, construction, project management, etc. So agriculture, some facts about agriculture. We are an agrarian society. Around 76% of people, they are somehow in agriculture economy, in agriculture business. Agriculture contributes around 1/3 of our whole gross domestic product. But the problem is we are not that modernized. And opportunities for Finnish companies is to modernize and improve that agriculture production, processing, packaging, and maybe just export a cold storage to start with. The next topic would be transport infrastructure. The facts is we have 75 different districts in Nepal. We have accessible road to 73. In few months we will be 74 out of 75. So we are developing, but the roads are pretty muddy in those areas. So somebody would have to construct those. We have 3 regional airports that are under construction or expansion. We have numerous highways under construction and few other highways under planning. I see the opportunities for Finnish companies in constructing the roads, bridges, selling construction equipments, and we are talking about managing 2 or 3 million people in Kathmandu. So we will need someone to tell us how to make this bus rapid transportation system, mass transit metro system, monorail or cable cars. So there is a lot of potential in transport sectors for Finnish companies. Information technology that we are good at in Finland. The facts in Nepal is that business processes are moving toward technology. The government processes are not online. And IT companies that are working in Nepal, they lack experience from big projects. So the opportunities for Finnish company is to encash that experience that we have here for working in a bigger IT projects, and we have greater chance of getting those bigger projects. There is opportunities for massive technological overhaul, as basic administrative work in government we have to do it like paper based. To tell few of the ideas like Petuma that we have in Finland, Suomi.fi, and then something like you can buy your land without even visiting the land department. It's something that you can just export the concept to Nepal. Healthcare. The facts is that health insurance is missing within Nepalese. We need doctors, we need nurses, we need midwives. So there would be somebody who have to train them. People are willing to pay for the better education, and then and you have opportunity to sell those training. The interesting thing is that the health care center are centralized to Kathmandu Valley, but you have to remember Kathmandu Valley is only 3 districts out of 75 districts. So you have 72 districts to play your business with. We need more tools for diagnostic and treatment. To give some example, the magnetic resonance, magneticuba that we say, they are maybe under 5 or 6 in whole Nepal. And if you count that for whole 29 population, and think of the business opportunity, if you just be able to export one instrument to Nepal, so that we are talking about a lot of money. We can also think in a different concept. We can think for promoting that health tourism destination, because healthcare is very cheap compared to the European standard. You can sell medical instruments, and I can see that we from Finland can sell a lot of diagnostic tools. Because just for the sake of diagnosis, many people are going to Delhi or some other Indian towns. Even though we have good doctors, but we do not have diagnostic tools. So let me assure that you have some idea like where to invest and why to invest. And if you are interested in doing a business in Nepal, you actually have 3 ways to do it. First 2 ways are easy. You can either start importing the goods or you can start exporting the goods. I see more opportunities in actually exporting the goods from Finland to Nepal, though in the first sense it seems like, okay, it's expensive, but people are willing to pay for a good product. Or if you want to be in charge of your investment, then you can think of foreign direct investment. And I would talk more about foreign direct investment, because I don't see any problem for Finnish people in starting importing or exporting goods. Just you don't have to export some illegal items. Every legal items that you want to export or import, it's not a big problem. So FDI is something that I want to focus on. So what is FDI? So FDI is foreign direct investment. FDI by the term says if you are buying some shares more than 10% of a company, then it's a FDI for Nepalese government. You can either buy shares or you can start anything from the scratch. But if you are going with the concept of FDI, you need to have minimum 50,000 US dollars. And if you think like, okay, you spend 50,000 US dollars in Nepal, and what about the profit? You are allowed to take all the profit that you have. Before it was 75% of all the profit that you could generate. Now you can bring to Finland all the 100% profit that you can make up from your business. And FDI is also bind to the BIPA agreement that I told you that was signed in 2009 with the Finnish government. So you might be interested in investing more. So we are in the phase to know how the FDI approval procedure will go. Let's start with the application. The Nepalese government is interested if your capital is more than 2 billion rupees. If that's a lot of money, so they are interested why you are investing in Nepal. But to make it hassle-free, they have a mechanism called Industrial Promotion Board. So if your capital is more than 2 billion rupees, they will look and they will help. But if you are going with 50,000 US dollar or anything less than 2 billion rupees, then the Department of Industry will approve that application. In both cases, once you got the approval, then you can extend your practicalities in registering your companies, registering for taxes and commissioning of industry, right? So we are not talking about starting a business like exporting or importing. We are talking more about investing our own money and being in control. So this chart is for FDI. So the takeaway of this chart is, if it is small money, less than 2 billion, it's something that you have to deal with direct Department of Industry. If it is something that's bigger than 2 billion, then people from Industrial Promotion Board will help you, right? We need to understand that we still are in paper business in Nepal. So you have to be very sharp in those documents, because if you lack some documents, then you will fall into the trap of the bureaucracy. So what I would suggest, just spend more time in creating the documents that are required. That would ensure the smoothness of the whole process. I have few documents listed here. For the Finnish point of view, you need a copy of passport, from Finland, and then you have to have certificate of financial creditability from the bank that you have here, so that you can assure the Nepalese government that you are being invited and you are doing something good there. Let's not talk about the documents, but it's something that you have to focus on if you are really interested in moving forward. And our friend Ashish Supreti, who is the contact in Nepal, he would love to help you in those legal scenario, because he is all the time working with this sort of practicalities. So now you have money and you want to register a company. You have two options. Either you go for private limited company, you can have 1 to 50 shareholders, but you can't issue shares to general public. And the registration fee is just around $10 to $160, depending on the capital investment. Or if you think big and you want to issue share to the general public, then go for public limited company. You can have 7 minimum shareholders. The advantage is that you can raise more money from market, but you need to have minimum investment of 100,000 US dollars. So it's around 95,000 euros or something like that. The registration fee is 180 to 1,600 US dollars, depending on the capital. You have to register for tax. The registration of tax happens in Inland Revenue Department, and then they will issue a number called PAN. Everybody will call PAN, but it's permanent account number. So it's a tax number that you should have. But if your turnover is more than 50,000 US dollar in a fiscal year, you need to register for value-added tax. That's all be in Finland. And if you want to make sure that every paperwork is right, then make sure that you have been registered in the industrial body. So let's say if you are working something in bank and financial institution, make sure that you have rights and green signal from Central Bank of Nepal. If you are working in hydropower, then make sure that you have to register in Department of Electricity Development. If you are working somewhere in the education sector, then you can get green signal from Ministry of Education. Education is one of the sector that I can feel that Finnish people will be able to get more grasp of, because Finnish government is financing Nepalese government in strengthening the education sector. So there would be some Finnish companies or Finnish parties already working in that sector. So anything that's related with the education sector, it should go fast. As a Finnish citizen, you would need to obtain a visa. There are different kind of visas, so make sure that you choose the right kind of visa. You can apply for a business visa that's valid for 5 years with possibility to renew. You can apply for residential visa. Residential visa are provided to Finnish investors who have made one-time investment of 100,000 US dollars. And you need to have recommendation from Department of Industry and Industry Promotion Board. But if I were you, I would rather go for non-tourist visa that's valid for 1 year at a time. Might need permission from Ministry of Home Affairs if duration is more than 3 months. And then there is something called non-tourist visa for expatriate, but that is for some consultant that goes from FCG or PRU from Finnish companies to work in Nepal. You can actually get visa in the airport, but I would suggest not to do that. The nearest visa, Nepalese embassy is in Denmark. So I would suggest you to be in touch with Nepalese embassy in Denmark for this kind of visa. Cost, to give some an idea, office space of 300 meters square in Kathmandu would cost around $300 per month. So that basically $10 per meter square. If you were in Kathmandu, in Pokhara, then it's $50 less. Internet cost, that can range up from $10 and upwards, depending on the speed that you want. Monthly salary, it's something that many companies ask from us. The entry level graduate, you can recruit them from $150 to $200 per month. So these are master's students, they have graduate in IT sectors. Mid-career professionals, these are, as an example, these are professionals who have done something, have 3 or 4 years experience in some companies. They would want to get somewhere around $250 to $500. And there are some senior level professionals that have work experience from outside, from Europe or US, and they are willing to work in your company. You might have to provide them $500 to $1,000 to lure them to work. So cheap labor, as I would say, compared to Finland. Tax and transaction. That's interesting thing that we Finnish people love to talk about. The tax rate is usually around 25 to 30%, but there is a big but. There are concessions for sectors as if you were going to be engaged in petroleum and natural gas. For first 7 years, you don't have to pay anything to the government, right? So if you produce any biodiesel or something, you don't have to pay taxes. If you are working in boot technology, it's called boot because it comes from build, own, operate, transfer. So you build, you operate on your own money. You get all the profit for 25 years, and after 25 years, you give it to the government. Okay. So you can just build a road in some mountainous region. You can put that in boot model. You can ask people money for 25 years, and after 25 years, you can give that road to the government. Does it make the sense? Yeah, the boot model. Yeah, it's same goes with the electricity also. If you are producing electricity on your own, you can sell electricity to people for 25 years, reap the benefit, and after 25 years you can give it to government. And you all again get that 40% exemption on taxes. If you are working in tourism and aviation, and you are able to expand your company capacity by 25% every year, or then you employ 500 or more employees, you get tax concession of 100%. So there are a lot of opportunities where Nepalese rule, even if it's difficult, but it allows many opportunities for Finnish counterparts. So you don't have to do something that you have to pay taxes and go for more paperwork. Look for something that you have, you see opportunities and you feel like this is safe zone to play, and work on that. But once I said that FDI thing, you might have thought of different industry that you were to invest in Nepal. We just have to know that Nepalese government does not allow you to invest in the following areas. It might be arms and ammunition. It might be industries related to radioactive material, real estate business. But you can do constructions, of course. But you can't push money in land and then sell it to other people. That's pity because you can't invest in film industries. That's one of the industries that's expanding very fast in Nepal. You can't print notes or coins. You can buy honey, but you can't invest in beekeeping. So they are just safeguarding those poor people who have invested in beekeeping. And if you think to take Finnish people to some village for rural tourism, we have to think from the other perspective, because Finnish people they are not allowed to invest in rural tourism. So you can invest in tourism, but you can't invest in rural tourism. So there are a few more, but I skipped that because I didn't see the sense. They were like straight, clear. Everybody knew that, okay, you are not allowed to invest in that. So let's say like, okay, you are very interested in expanding your business. You want to help Nepali people by investing in Nepal. And you are at the same time thinking, will life be boring in Nepal? How the life will be in Nepal. So that's why I created this slide. So Finnish people, I think they are the one of the luckiest people in the whole world to have that much Nepalese restaurant in Nepal, in Finland. It's one of the rare countries where Nepalese have prospered, and the Nepalese restaurant industry have prospered so fast. So you know that food is great, and we have various range of land. We have mountains, high mountains, we have short mountains, and we have no mountains, like Tampere or Helsinki area. So in the same time, in the same year, you can play with the snow, or you can just get yourself born in sun. So if you were to fly now to Nepal, you can choose from different season. Either you want to go to Sagarmatha base and play with the snow, or either you want to go to some Butwal and take sunbath. That's something interesting. We have a culture that revolves around tradition and festivals. And if you think like these are not that fancy, you can always go for trekking. You can go for adventure tourism like paragliding, rafting, bungee jumping, and I could assure that living in Nepal is not that boring at all. So I talked all the good things till now, but we have to talk the realistic thing also. But I can see the opportunities for Finnish companies. That's why I'm highlighting this. So there are non-successful stories by Finnish firms also in Nepal. The Spanish company San Jose, it was fired because of the poor performance. They were given talks to upgrade the international airport, but nothing happened for a long time. Gautam Buddha Airport, the Chinese counterpart, was nearly fired until they flew all their Chinese people, and they have now started to work. But there is opportunity for Finnish people, because we have, as a Finnish company, we have a tradition of quality, and we can sell that trust to Nepalese government and Nepalese private sector. So we actually are waiting for some companies to go there and take some projects so that the project would be completed in time. right? So every time I read the newspaper, I'm much interested in who is the contractor. If it is Chinese company or if it is some other company, there is always some risks that it won't fulfill the deadline. So something bad for some other companies might be good for Finnish companies. So are there Finnish companies in Nepal? Yes, there are Finnish companies in Nepal. I read a thesis that said like around 20 Finnish companies were there, but not everyone wanted to be publicized. Telia Sonera was working there until it announced divestment to a Malaysian company. Niras, a consultancy-based company with offices in Helsinki, it's working there. Peuru is there for a long time. FCG is there for a long time. They are working in sanitation, they are working in consulting business. Similar with the Finn partnership, IT Oxygen, and there is some company, joint venture called NEP West, that signed a deal in February 2017 for solid waste management project in Kathmandu Valley that worth 100 million euros. So it's basically 3 years project, and we are talking about the extension. So it's something that I would be following. But if you are a kind of a guy that don't want to risk with your own money, you can always think of projects that are funded by Nordic Investment Fund or Development Fund. Nordic Development Fund, they are interested in funding projects in Nepal if it is something related with climate change. We are talking about big money. The requirement is that the coordinators should be a Finnish company or some universities, and they don't fund some personal thing. That they work with non-government officials or universities in Nepal. There are two examples where few Finnish companies got the fund from Nordic Development Fund, and they have very good prospect, and I shouldn't have to say the quality of the Finnish companies. So everything is going good. So till now we learned that money is not a problem in Nepal. It's actually the skills or the management that we are lacking. And as a Finnish company, you might not have to start directly risking your money. You can always think to do good and look for the funds that are funded by Nordic Development Fund, World Bank, or Asian Development Bank. It should be some idea that would benefit both economies. So you might want to get some tips. So what I would say is that as a Finnish company, try to utilize the Nepalese network in Finland. We are already more than 3,000 people. That's a lot of people. And then they come from different part of Nepal. So if you have to do some market research, you don't have to go to Nepal. You can just leave a message in Facebook page, and 100 people from 175 districts will be there to help you. Try to recruit those people if you are actually going to Nepal, because you will have some insider that knows both economy, both rules and regulations, and the way of doing things. Utilize the alumni that have studied in Finland, but they choose to go back to Nepal. So there are many that actually when we came, I came in 2005, we would count people, like how many Nepalese are there. But then after that, there was a boom in education. Many students wanted to come to Finland, and then some people have lived in Finland, stayed in Finland, but some people like us have gone back and doing their business in Nepal. So try to utilize those alumni. If you are to do some partnership with Nepalese, get to know your business partner. Spend more time on understanding the partner. Once you are in Nepal, show some honor to religion and old traditional habits. Show some respect to seniors. And for actually Finnish people, be prepared that the meeting won't start on time. So just make sure that people will come to meeting on time. It's a cultural thing, so we are always late. Reserve plenty of time to go through paperwork, because once you are done with the paperwork, nobody would come and ask you like how the things are. It's until the paper drama that you have to do, that's the basic problem for foreign companies. And don't think from the concept of Finnish people that you would take an appointment with the officer and then you will meet him after 1 month. That won't work. Be prepared, go with your questions and ask him directly. It's the same thing that you go after one month. So what I'm saying is you would not get any extra benefit waiting for 1 month, right? So the cultural thing is like, if you have something, just ask directly. Don't wait for 1 month appointment and then take that seriously. So if it is big thing, then appointment will help. But if you have some small thing, then just ask. So we have problems. We are not free of problems. In Nepal, the main problem is the political disputes. So when we shifted from single party to multi-party, everybody wants to start their own party, and there is a political disputes among those parties. There is lack of highly skilled power compared to the Finnish economy, mainly because highly educated population, they want to migrate to developing economy, and because of all this historical thing, we have a lack of good infrastructure facilities. So be prepared with that. But when there is a problem, there is an opportunity. So think in that context. So this was basically warm up, and what after today. So I would like to put some of the information that I would like to share. In Nepal, we have Nepalese society in Finland, Suomi Nepal Seura. It was actually started in 1980s or something. I don't know who established it, but it has been there for a long time. It's active. Then we have something called YNRNA. It's non-residential Nepali. That, how do you pronounce it? Association. Association. Yeah. So you can be in touch with YNRNA if you have some specific questions related in how you should proceed. You can always call Nepalese Embassy at Denmark, but I would rather start with the network that you have in Nepal and then go with these organizations. And we have also something called Team Finland, and there are few people that have responsibility in helping Finnish companies to move to Finland. So you can be in touch with people working in Team Finland. Okay, this was my part, and I have few slides, but these are links to policies if you are interested to read more about those policies. I had a hard time finding those policies. Then I have references if you want to go more, learn more on that. For example, this is something that I would like to highlight, thesus.fi. It's a link that have all the theses that people in Finland have written on the topic Nepal. And I was quite astonished that I could find 650 hits. So these students, they have been doing research for Finnish companies all the time. So if you don't believe in me, believe in some research work, and that means you can even hire someone to do a thesis for looking on the prospect that you want to ensure that it will work or not. So thesus.fi is the one place that you would go and check. There are many both Finnish people and Nepalese people. They have written theses on power sector, rural tourism. I was quite astonished. Like if you can find so many things in Google, and you don't even notice that there are so many things in the cloud now. If you are interested in selling some instruments or some skills, then first thing you would try to go is to check tender notice. So it's a website that have tenders from governments that's published in English government. So you don't have to ask some Nepalese guy to look for the Nepalese tenders and then tell you. You can just register yourself in one of these websites, and then they will send you the tenders. It's actually funny to read those tenders because we live in two different economies, so they are expecting something, and that might seem like that's a straightforward thing in Finland, but still you can sell that in Nepal. Nepalese government, they have a website called investnepal.government.np. I didn't quite liked the content because they didn't update it after 2015, apart from few articles, but I have learned quite a bit of the rules and regulations, legal things from this site. So this is something that's formal. If you are interested in looking the projects that are funded by World Bank, then just go to worldbank.org and run a filter on country Nepal. So you will have lots of projects that are funded by World Bank, and they are always looking for companies from developed economies so that they can ensure that their projects are successful. FDI Analytics is a startup company, US based, Nepalese based company. They have good information on the overall opportunities for Finnish, overall opportunities for foreign companies to invest in Nepal. So you have links to policies. I'll send this PowerPoint slide. I'll talk to Crazy Town.
Yeah, but should we collect emails or something so it would be easier that way?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Okay. What would you like to do? Yeah. Yeah. So that was my part. Let's go to informal discussion if you have anything. Taina, could you check if there is some active conversation going on?
No, only Ashish said that and introduced himself here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there is no questions at the live chat.
Okay. Is there some legal question that you would ask to Ashish?
Oh,
I would like to ask you one question, like there was some kind of concession or something like discount
Tax
for
concession?
tax, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just for foreigners or is it the same thing for Nepalese people?
It's for Nepalese people also.
Okay, it's the same.
Yeah.
Actually would have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry I came late. I don't know if you already discussed this, but what is the sort of the role of a written contract versus sort of one-to-one, face-to-face? Which one is more valuable? What do like? Of course you have to have a contract, but how much is it down to like numbers of pages in a paper, or how much is it with people?
It's people to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
It's people to people, and might be that we take a conversation in email so seriously in Finland. It is not the same case in Nepal. So you have to ensure that the other partner understand what you are aiming for, and it's always good to have something on paper, but you need to know the person.
So it's based on trust more than.
Yeah, it's based on trust. Yeah,
Which requires a lot of knowledge on the culture to be
Yeah.
able to do that.
that's true.
maybe you could tell who are you, because Anu is from city of Tampere.
Yes, I'm actually here as a private person now, but
Okay.
but I work for the city of Tampere. I'm a business developer, and I've done a lot of trade on the Russian market before this, and I do have the experience of something that is not very not as stable as Finland.
Hmm.
So that's I'm really interested in well, I'm a hiker and a trekker, so I'm interested in Nepal in general, and maybe as with the consulting business there. I just came for Taina's invitation. This was very, very interesting, and I've been looking forward to seeing all the other stuff that I missed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have a question about the free zone or a special economic area.
Mm.
How many we have in Nepal? Is there any special zone?
We have a special economic zone, and government is in the process of developing more and more. And if you are inside a special economic zone, you have some different kind of concessions, and they ensure that you have power, like electricity and other raw materials. I would say somewhere around 6. Yeah, but
7 or 6?
yes, 6 or 7. I can
Because
come back to you.
when you are talking about the investment
Hmm.
or FDI in a special economic zone, most of them have a
Okay.
free tax. Most of them have a free tax, and bank transactions are free,
Mm.
and something like this facility they give through these Zoom special economic zones.
Yeah. So it's not. There are economic free these economic zones, but they are not that popular. And maybe the government is creating those where the land is cheap. But yeah, Ashish is online, and he is a corporate lawyer in Nepal. And he told that email shall be legal obligations. Yeah, so now things are changing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ashish. We will soon stop the streaming, but if any legal questions come from the participant side, I will forward it to you.
And about you mentioned about salaries, but what about then some payments to government, that if you have people working in the company?
legally you have to pay the pensions and the social security system, but it's not that developed. So if you are in the book, you abide by the government laws. So if the government, it's a funny thing that people who work in government, they are paying taxes, and people who working in private, they are avoiding taxes. So it's easy for private companies not to pay taxes, but if you are in a government office, so they will just get the salary that's already deducted from tax. It's not that developed, I would say.
You give an address of the Denmark embassy.
Yeah.
So why Denmark? There is
We don't have embassy in Finland, so the nearest embassy is Denmark.
We had the discussion about this, that customs or regulations, so that if we think about, we are thinking that if we export this kind of product to Nepal, that is like a small electronic product, you can make your mobile phone as a microscope. We are looking at the educational market for this one. But I'm just curious that is there any
I'll stop
regulation
the stream.
for this type of product?
Thank you, Ashish. Bye bye.
Okay.